It's an absolute honor and pleasure to invite Mr. Atul Mehta. He's joined with his daughter, Dr. Arpi, for the webinar today. The purpose of this webinar is to disseminate information about lung transplantation as it relates to patients in India. I'm also joined by the fantastic team that has taken care of Mr. Atul Mehta in Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi, Dr. Usman Ahmed, Dr. Fadi Ahmed, Dr. Atul Mehta from Cleveland Clinic main campus, who's played an instrumental role in the treatment of this patient. So welcome everybody. Firstly, sir, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And not many patients come in front of the video to share their experiences and stories. So we cannot be thankful enough you've done this. So if you can share a little bit about what you do, where are you from India, and what has your journey been ever since your doctor has told you that you need a transplant?
Yeah, I'm from India, from Mumbai, Maharashtra, basically. And then I am just I'm doing a business of paints and stock. I'm in stock market also. So
Yeah.
what is happened that was suffering from this, basic EAA and ILDS diagnosed in 2009 onwards. I was diagnosed.
Okay.
At that time, just he suggested me for going for prednisone 5 mg daily. That's all. And side medicines I was used to taking this calcium and all that. And I was doing very well. Nothing short of any difficulty in the regular living of my life, walking, doing activities, doing all work, anything. Till 2022, there was not a single problem with my health or with my lungs or anything else. It was just going as usual. No doubt, in between, due to this prednisolone, and I just developed this diabetes and cholesterol and BP. It came into journey from 9 to 2020, and then 22, I was diagnosed with pneumonia
I see.
in Mumbai. Yeah, and I took the treatment. This new life, what I have been talking to you right now, he is fully involved with Dr. Atul Mehta and all this team connected.
How
Dr. Fadi,
wonderful.
especially Dr. Fadi also, we have, before coming to Abu Dhabi, we had an interview with Dr. Fadi, and he really encouraged myself and our family that there is nothing to worry. Even today is you are also having a good time, you are in good health. You can just come down and we'll again check up and evaluate, and then we will do the needful, whatever the best possible. And we have then Dr. Fadi's wordings and whatever he has explained, we really felt that it is better to go to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, near Mumbai also. And treatment is also under Dr. Usman, also is also from Cleveland, very experienced, well experienced and well successful surgery man. So we all decided in the family, my in-laws and my daughter, my wife, they have fully supported me to go for it. And internally also, then I was also very much positive that whatever happens, nothing to worry about, either this way or that way.
Dr. Arpi, if I may ask you, as a family member, what were some of the most important factors in identifying a hospital for your father's lung transplant, especially you being a physician yourself?
Deepika, I obviously went a little bit more the objective route.
Okay.
I did a bunch of research with fellow doctors across the world. So I had a bunch of friends in the US, anesthetists. They spoke to me about all of the hospitals in the US for lung transplant. At first point, I understood that US is probably 30 years ahead of the rest of the world when it came to lung transplant specifically. So got a download on the top 5 hospitals and the success rates of lung transplant surgeries in each and every one of them. So the number one factor was obviously the 5-year survival rate, followed by the 2-year survival rate.
Okay.
Whatever information I could get. To be honest, nobody knows how much of that information is accurate or not, but we try to get our sense of all of that information as much as possible, and each and every one of those hospitals in the US. That's number one. We also did the same for India. But again, in India, actually, there was more opacity of information.
Mm-hmm.
We really couldn't get a lot of transparent information about 5-year survival rates, 2-year survival rates, etc. But did boil down to 2 hospitals in India as well for the same. Second factor for consideration was also to do with post-op care, not just the surgery. So one was obviously surgery, the surgeon, the experience of the surgeon per se, but second was the post-op care that the hospital provided, and third, more practically for us, was obviously feasibility, where you travel, what is comfortable, what is convenient, whether it should be US or Abu Dhabi or India per
Sure.
se. We did a lot of research on it, and were trying to close in on hospitals in the US. But that's when I think incidentally we happened to speak to Dr. Atul Mehta, who
Mhm.
uh, is very well known and respected by a lot of medical fraternity that my father-in-law knew of. He instilled a tremendous amount of confidence in actually considering Cleveland, Abu Dhabi. We initially, being very candid, were not so sure of it, given it was a relatively newer program, right?
Correct.
We obviously wanted
Correct.
to go somewhere where you already had enough numbers and all of that. But I think he pulled through with the confidence quite a bit. And after that, we then happened to get connects with a couple of other doctors in Cleveland Hospital, who actually doubled down on that confidence for us as well. But then things took a different turn, and dad went down the critical route. After which point, honestly, at that point, the only choices that we boiled down or narrowed down to were India and Abu Dhabi. And in India, what then obviously became far more important was the time period, organ
Mm-hmm.
availability, right? Which earlier was not a factor in consideration, because when we were doing it preemptively, we honestly thought we had a lot more time.
Yeah.
When it got critical, it was a lot of it was about the donor availability. And we knew through a lot in India that it would take more than at least 3 to 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
We took a bet on Cleveland also being lesser. Luckily, that's exactly what happened. God was very kind to us. I think the team here also pulled through a lot. So all said
That's
and done,
great to hear. That's great to hear. Thank you
we do.
so much for sharing those, that valuable information on what made you decide as to where, you would want to take your father. In terms of the process itself, Dr. RP and Mr. Mehta, how relatively smooth or difficult was it for you to get access to the Cleveland Clinic system? How was the appointment process, the scheduling? If you can just talk to us a little bit about access to the health system.
So honestly, I think access was good, right? Even preemptively, when we were considering it, we had reached out, like I said, right, to hospitals in the US and over here as well. We in fact felt that the response from Cleveland Abu Dhabi was actually faster
Yeah.
than a bunch of reputed hospitals in the US as well,
Okay.
right? And maybe that's also a lot to do with the program per se, and the energy that I think the team involved with this program actually provides. So we got in touch very quickly with respect to appointment scheduling and all of that, understanding about the procedure, getting access, and that time it was predominantly Dr. Fadi. So getting a proper deep level understanding about what's required, what's not, to actually come there. So I would say that was very, very seamless. Obviously, when we took the decision to come here, that was like a 48-hour time frame when we took the
Mm-hmm.
decision here. And I still remember Dr. Fadi was in some other surgery or some other, patient, and we had called him 10 times in the day, I think, in the hospital, because dad was already on the ventilator. So we
Yeah.
literally had to take a call like in a 48-hour time frame. But even then, I think within that 2-day time period, we got enough and more access to understand under what circumstances would we really have to come there, and know what was what, and we took an informed call and flew down.
What advice would you give to fellow caregivers who are looking for lung transplantation for their family members?
Yeah, I think, look, uh, practical factors obviously come into consideration. What's the cost of the program, the hospital, the expertise of the doctors, all of that. And on those counts, I would say I think Cleveland, Abu Dhabi lived up to all of our expectations for sure, right? I mean, when it comes to expertise, I think we couldn't have been happier with both Dr. Fadi and Dr. Usman, right? Keeping the medical expertise and excellence aside, we personally feel that both of them went above and beyond.
That's
This
that's
meaning of life.
incredible to hear.
No, absolutely. Also, I think the other staff at the hospital were also amazing. I mean, we still remember some of our nursing staff that have been with us, throughout that experience. And just at a human and emotional level, I think they were all very, very supportive. So that was amazing. Two, three other factors are obviously the donor availability was outstanding, right? I think for us that was a game changer. Secondly, I think financially also, because we had done our research, right,
Mhm.
and we were opting to go to the US, it does become a meaningful, betterment from the cost that we would have otherwise paid in some of the top hospitals in the US. Right? Seen some of the top hospitals there,
Okay.
right? Right. So with these top three, four universities, and we had gone with I think the number that they treated at least 100 or 150
Mm-hmm.
transplant patients a year, right? And in most of these places, I think the cost was north of $1 million, at least a
Okay.
million, right? Which
Sure.
for us over here became reasonably lower, right? So I think that's a big factor, at least that I would tell a lot of Indian families and Indian folks who are considering
Yeah.
of India, right, and
Yeah.
willing to get a good treatment outside, that this would definitely be a big needle mover for them as well.
Great. Thank you for sharing that bit of information. India is a price sensitive market, and I think I'm so glad to hear that more and more Indians can perhaps afford this kind of a procedure within one of our health system hospitals. Any feedback for how we can improve our process, our system? I've heard all great things so far. so, so I'm not
No,
complaining.
most of it has been great. The experience has been amazing. Like I said, for us, dad is here, and that matters more than everything else
It's such an
whatsoever.
honor. We really take that
So,
as a
I think
huge
we had
compliment.
a couple of points which I think we already shared with Dr. Usman and Dr. Fadi as well, right? And I think one was we did feel like the physiotherapy could have been stronger. And weekends we were a little flustered in the beginning, where we felt like we couldn't get as much access, and maybe it's to do with how systems here work. We are
Yeah.
used to a system in India where we get access to doctors all the time, weekends, weekday, all of that.
Right.
So that was one thing where we felt initially a little bit of difficulty, and we actually expressed that to Dr. Usman as well. And by
Yeah.
the way, after the operation, we felt like that also they made those efforts to give us that access even on the weekends
That's
after
great
that.
to hear. It's
So
great to hear.
we do feel like feedback. We were heard, right? We were heard
Yeah.
all through on things that we said, and we felt like we were getting responded to. So I think that's about it.
We appreciate you being so candid.
Okay. See, my experience is that I got a new life, and within short time, under the best doctor, as far as my experience is going, I can tell you that even after post-op, like Dr. Usman was visiting every day, now and then.
Mhm.
We were also, I mean, we came to know that in donors were not there to, I mean, awareness was not there for lung
Right.
donation for the lungs. In India
That's
also,
yeah, that's a sad reality. There is a scarcity of organs in India and also awareness, and it's so
yes,
new in India, right? Lung transplantation
yes.
compared to other countries. Yeah.
I am very grateful to Cleveland whole staff management, all from top to bottom. Everyone was very cooperative in handling my condition. Anything I need, immediately they present themselves, and immediately they even are in the night. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night when I had a stomach problem, they immediately gave me the solution. I mean, medicines immediately. I mean, care by while care post op or pre-op, as my condition was very critical. So really, they have put my name in the list, and I got the donor within just 1 month after admission. After
No,
doing
thank
it,
thank you so much for sharing that
yes,
feedback, Mr. Mehta. And it's so heartwarming to hear that you've received such a positive experience, and you sound like a positive person as well. I'm sure that
yeah.
goes a long way in ensuring you recover well.
Well, I will just add that, this process of organ transplantation, particularly heart and lung, this is a life-changing, life-altering situation for everyone involved. As much as Mr. Mehta, you think that, and RP, you think we've touched your lives, you've touched ours equally. We're all on the same team here. I cannot thank you, all of you, particularly family, for trusting us, for putting your dad's health, in our, making it our responsibility. And I think we had this conversation early on before the transplant that, we cannot always predict what happens after these big operations. But our promise is that we will take care of you no matter what comes down the line. And, we hope we stood up to that challenge. And thank you for trusting us with your health and your family. And we look forward to many happy memories with you moving forward.
Absolutely. No,
Thank
absolutely.
you. Thank you, Dr. Usman. Dr. Mehta, Dr. Fadi, any remarks from your end?
For sure. No, again, the thing that we always mention and talk with, Dr. RP and Mr. Atul, that, we really appreciate their trust. The other story that, Mr. Atul may remember, every time I go into his room, his heart starts, bouncing up to the 130, 140. Whenever he sees me, I said, calm down, we're good. We're going to reach for the transplant soon, don't worry. And every time I get into the room, the team said, what did you do? He was just fine 2 minutes ago. I said, don't worry, we'll go across this journey. So their trust, again, the bottom line, that the trust they have in us made us also more and more kind of, obliged to help him and provide, the care that we would have done to any family member. And you can see the outcome so far. We could not be happier seeing him walking in the clinic without oxygen, smiling and, gaining some weight, having his best food right now. This is exactly why we're here.
When I listen to you guys, it gives me goosebumps. What is sitting in front of you, these two guys, Dr. Fadi Ahmed and Usman Ahmed, they have that degree of experience. Fadi was trained at the Cleveland Clinic, one of the finest fellows, and very proud of him. He joined CCAD. And Usman, he is a magician when he's in the operating room. And I have seen him operating. So there was no doubt in my mind that this is the team. That's number one. Number two, the proximity of India and Abu Dhabi. So that is another factor in making that decision and making that recommendation. And of course, the urgency was there. And it is a great teamwork. This is just the beginning. It takes a village to do a lung transplantation, and your village is spread from India to Abu Dhabi to United States. So we all will take care of you.
I must say, Dr. Mehta, whenever he visits India, he's always available, whether, patients travel to Cleveland or not. He's relentless when it comes to giving his time. He does it free of any financial obligations. He takes care of the underserved. So I cannot thank him enough for his services to our Indian patients. And again, thank you so much for the family. It's you're so bold and brave to come in front of the camera and share your experiences. And this means so much to us as a Cleveland Clinic team, to all the patients who are asking these questions. If they are listed on, on the transplant and they don't know what to do, where to go, I hope this webinar serves as a valuable resource to those patients, whether they choose to come to Cleveland Clinic or not. Again, appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and wishing you the best of luck for the rest of your journey with Cleveland Clinic.